Jacksonville Jaguars fans, welcome into Duval Daily presented by GinJag.com. I'm Jordan DeLugo. Thanks so much for tuning in here on Monday, March 3rd. NFL Combine in the books. Free agency, it's 1 week away. And this week, we are going to focus more on free agency than the draft. But probably over the next couple days, we're going to be wrapping up Combine talk. And of course, it is Monday. So yeah, I've got mock draft Monday on deck for y'all here today. Can't skip a Monday, right? Again, really appreciate y'all being here. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. And we're going to dive into this mock draft now that the Combine is in the books. You look at the NFL Combine, and it should be confirming what you already believed based on tape. If that's the case, wonderful. If that's not the case, you kind of have to figure out why. Why did you not see this on tape? And if you go back and watch the tape to try to figure out where it is and you still don't see it, guess what? That means you're probably just not going to see it, right? That maybe somebody tests better in a certain area, and that sort of testing just doesn't really manifest itself on the field. That happens with plenty of guys. You might see a guy who has an unbelievable 40-yard dash. You don't see it on the field because they don't know how to control their speed. They don't have the physicality or the quickness to get into positions to where they can unlock that speed, right? There's a lot of different ways that testing can manifest itself or not manifest itself on the field. So we are doing this pseudo-predictively. It's still kind of hard to do it completely predictively before free agency because I think the draft will inform free agency and free agency will inform the draft. Like if the Jaguars have plans for the draft that they feel like they can go execute no matter what, like there's X amount of guys at this spot we really feel like we can target that are going to be there predictively, then maybe we don't need to go sign an expensive free agent or, whatever they plan to do at 5 overall. If they feel pretty confident in what they're going to be doing, they don't need to go sign a free agent at that position. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it here. And the Jaguars do have the 5th overall pick. Would they like to trade it? Obviously. Yeah, of course you'd like to trade the 5th overall pick and get extra picks, maybe get an extra second-round pick to move back a few spots, maybe multiple picks to move back a few spots. Yes. But I really believe that the top 2 quarterbacks are coming off in the top 4, and the 2 players that teams would be trying to trade up for, Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, are coming off the board in the top 4, which means I don't think anybody's trading up. So I'm trying to do this, again, realistically and predictively. I don't think the Jaguars are moving back. Not because they don't want to, but because they probably won't find a trade partner that is willing enough to really get this thing done. And so at 5, nothing's changing for me. I think Mason Graham, I talked about it maybe last week, kind of talking about how similar Mason Graham is to Braden Fisk, but he's like the A+ version of Braden Fisk, who has the versatility to play across the line of scrimmage or across the defensive front and the physicality to be more of a real big 3-down impact guy. Like he can be stout against the run. He also has all the juice and athleticism and hand usage, explosiveness to be an extreme penetration style guy in the backfield. Then he comes in a little light at the combine, 296 pounds, and he looks even more like Braden Fisk from a physical profile standpoint. But I think he plays bigger than that. I think 296 is kind of an off-season weight, a weight that's going to be most beneficial for him in his testing at his pro day. He did not test at the combine. So I think Mason Graham should be the pick. He's, in my mind, a blue chip prospect. Again, great run defender and pass rusher, and even more upside than we've seen. Young guy who dominated early on in his college career, comes in with the right mindset. Mason Graham is the pick for me at 5 overall. And you look at the Jaguars defensive line after doing that, and you've got a really talented, strong group, and you've got the law firm of Mason and Mason to build around for the long term. Mason Graham and Mason Smith there. So I'm all over that for sure. At 36, I told y'all yesterday, if you were watching the wide receiver show, or maybe that was Saturday, I don't know. All the days are running together now. But I told y'all yesterday, talking about the receivers, or the day before, if Jaden Higgins is there at 36, turn the card in. Look, Matthew Golden going to be long gone. I think obviously T-Mac, probably Emeka Ibuka. I think talk about Luther Burden. All these guys are gone. Long gone, I think. Especially Matthew Golden after run that 4.29. Jaden Higgins had an incredible combine for his size. And this is a guy who's, plays at like 215 pounds at 6'4". And yeah, he's big and fast, as Daniel Jeremiah just said. Ran a 4.47 40-yard dash. 1.53 10 split at 215 pounds. 39-inch vert at 215 pounds. 10.8 broad. And so when I watched him, I thought that he won more because of his technical prowess as a route runner, his ability to sink his hips and get in and out of breaks for a big man, and his length and his physicality. I think he does win with those. But he's got a little bit more speed than I expected. And again, 4.47 for a receiver in a vacuum is not blazing. But 4.47 for a 215-pound receiver with the length, the technical prowess, the physicality, the hands, unbelievable hands and body control in contested catch situations, and he doesn't have any of these stupid focus drops. Sign me up all day for him to play opposite Brian Thomas Jr. And he can be, one thing I love about this pairing, Jaden Higgins could be an X, a Z, or a power slot. And Brian Thomas Jr. can align at all those places as well. So now you have two guys you can literally put anywhere on the field and get the job done. And I do think Jaden Higgins will bring it as a blocker for you. If that's a priority in your offense, I think he can absolutely do that for you. So, yeah, sign me all the way up. You now have your two big receivers as well for Trevor Lawrence. And look, Trevor Lawrence has not had a receiver like Jaden Higgins in the NFL. The most comparable receiver he's had to Jaden Higgins is obviously another guy with the last name Higgins, T. And that was back during his days at Clemson. So getting him someone with this type of skill set, I think, is huge. And that's not any slide on Brian Thomas Jr., but you're talking about Jaden Higgins as more of a possession guy who also can get deep and can go win down the field, whereas Brian Thomas Jr. is just the elite 3-level playmaker, instant separation type of guy who does have size and length to go get the football as well. So they're just a great combination of players, Jaden Higgins and Brian Thomas Jr. That'd be very exciting. At 70, really wanted Tate Ratledge. I did. Was not on the board. But Tate Ratledge, I think it's just his destiny to be like a great offensive lineman in the NFL. You look at this guy. First of all, Tate Ratledge, great offensive line name. Ratledge just kind of sounds like an offensive lineman, doesn't it? Comes from the University of Georgia, which we won't hold that against him, right? Mullet and mustache. Wears number 69. Has some really impressive numbers overall as a athlete. 4.97 40-yard dash, 1.72 10 split, 32-inch vert, 9.5 broad. Good 3-cone drill for a big man. Really good tape. And then you get a cut up on Twitter of someone playing free bird while he is running his 40-yard dash. It's meant to be for Tate Ratledge, but he wasn't there. And if y'all have paid attention to what I'm doing here this offseason, to me, you're signing a starting center who's young and potentially moving on from Mitch, and you're signing a starting right guard. So anybody that you're drafting at offensive line here is depth and future starter, right? Our guy Tate Ratledge is gone, but his teammate, Jared Wilson, is still on the board. And Jared Wilson is a center out of the University of Georgia. I mentioned good testing. So 6'3", 310, 32 3/8 arms, big, almost 11-inch hands, which hands that are that big allow you to have great grip strength. And you see that on tape. 4.84, 40-yard dash, led all offensive linemen, 1.72 10 split, 32-inch vert, 9.4 broad, 4.56 short shuttle. Yeah, I think that he is, drafting him at 70, it's pretty bold, I think, but I don't think it's wrong. And I think the Jaguars will see his ability as well. 1 year as a starter at Georgia, very clean tape overall. And you see the athleticism pop on tape. And you see the fact that he's 6'3", 310. 310 is a really good size for centers, and 6'3" is as well. You don't want to be too tall. Being tall can limit your ability to bend. It can limit your ability to win with natural leverage. I think Jared Wilson is really a prototypical type of guy long term. And I don't think there's any reason he couldn't play guard for you in his own scheme as well. And we'll see what the Jaguars want to do from a rushing perspective. I think they want to have balance, but I think that Jared Wilson can get the job done for them long term as a guard. And let's say you don't get let's say you don't get Drew Dahlman in free agency, who that's the guy I'm manifesting. Jared Wilson as a starter for 2026, playing behind a veteran this year, whether it be Mitch Morse or someone else, that makes a lot of sense. And to get that at 70 overall with that athleticism, the pedigree, all that good stuff, I would love that. At 88, we're taking safety Andrew Makuba out of Texas by way of Clemson. And Andrew Makuba, he had himself a nice day. He's really smooth, really smart, really instinctive. And he ran a 4.45. 4.45 for a safety is real good. These guys are more dependent on instincts, vision, just IQ and understanding of how your offense is trying to, or the offense is trying to attack you, and how your defense needs to, the rules of your defense, basically. That's the critical thing at safety. It's early. We got to get this coffee in. Got to get that coffee in. So, Andrew Makuba out of Texas, really, really good football player, sound player. And the Jags need safety, right? You need a safety. I think they got to sign a safety in free agency, at least one. And then if they only sign one, Andrew Makuba, I think realistically would probably start this year as a rookie next to a safety that you sign. We're going to get to the rest of this mock draft, but first got to remind you all about Underdog Fantasy. This basketball season, when your favorite stars score buckets, we're alley-ooping you an opportunity to win money from watching sports with Underdog. Making picks on Underdog is straightforward. Signing up is even easier. Just head over to Underdog's simple-to-use mobile app or UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with promo code DuvalDaily. And Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first cash pick'em entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. Tonight, taking a look at maybe Sixers versus Blazers, taking some picks in that game. That's kind of the game I'm having my eye on there. Paul George dealing with a little bit of an injury. I might be looking at Bam Adebayo with the rebounds against the Wizards as well. So take a look. That's Underdog Fantasy. Promo code DuvalDaily to claim your new customer special of a free pick and your deposit offer. Must be 18 plus, 90 plus Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. Arizona, 1-800-NEXT-STEP. That's 1-800-639-8783 or text NEXT STEP to 53342. New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text OPENY 467-369. Shout out to Underdog Fantasy. At 106, we go get Jared Ivey, who's someone we've mocked to the Jaguars a lot back in the day. I say back in the day, back when Trent Baalke was still the GM. But I still think Jared Ivey's just a darn good football player. Big guy. I think he's got great athleticism for his size overall. And somebody very productive. Somebody who really works well on stunts and games up front. I'm a fan. Big fan of his body of work and his physical ability. So I think Jared Ivey as like a rotational rusher. Again, that's another position I think they should address in free agency with a rotational type of guy, an edge 3. Jared Ivey coming in competing for reps at that spot. I like it. At 125, we take another offensive lineman, Anthony Belton, because we're going to have a plan A, a plan B, and plan C at offensive line, right? We're not letting that be a group that sinks the ship. Not happening. Anthony Belton out of NC State. Anthony Belton did not have a great testing day, but he is a huge offensive lineman. right? So he ran a 5.26 40-yard dash, played offensive tackle at NC State. He's 336 pounds with 34-inch arms. He's 6'6", got big hands. This guy, I don't think by any stretch he had like a horrible day for his size, but not a great day. I think that you're drafting him to be, in my opinion, a starting guard in the future, and somebody who can also kick out to tackle for you if you need him to. But I loved how he looked playing guard at the Senior Bowl. Thought he also looked pretty good at tackle. So this is just a big physical athlete that has some technical prowess, has a lot of starting experience, and I think kicking him inside to guard kind of mitigates a little bit of his lack of maybe lateral agility and ability to mirror some of the. I mean, going against a 250-pound dude who runs a 4.5 40-yard dash and is explosive as hell and has length, that's a tough assignment, right? But Anthony Belton out of Tallahassee, Florida, I like that one a lot at 125. At 143, cornerback Jacob Parrish out of Kansas State. And realistically, I don't think he should be on the board, but I think in this cornerback class, there's going to be someone who shouldn't be on the board at 143 overall. And here it's Jacob Parrish. He's 5'10", so does not have great length, but he does have 31-inch does not have great height. He does have 31-inch arms, which isn't like elite or anywhere close to it, but it does kind of pass the threshold for most teams of being able to play outside at corner. He's 191 despite being 5'10", so he's got a lot of good strength throughout his frame. And he ran a 4.35 40-yard dash. You see he is very smart, cover corner, physical, quick, 1.5, 110 split, 37.5-inch vert, 10.9 broad, did 12 bench press reps as well. I think Jacob Parrish has the chance to be a good starter. And again, this is another position we're drafting for the future. We're signing for the present, right? I think that you go sign Carlton Davis or DJ Reed or whoever it is. And then you also get somebody in the draft you feel like you can develop for the long term. And this is no longer the Trent Baalke Jaguars or whatever past iteration of front office you want to talk about in Jacksonville. This is a group with James Gladstone leading the way as the top personnel guy that should be able to hit in the mid to late rounds. They should. 184, running back Damian Martinez out of the University of Miami. Martinez, not the fastest dude, but he's a big boy. He is a big physical back. I think the Jaguars need a little bit of that physicality in the backfield. And look, even though he's physical, even though he came in at 217, which I think he plays a little bit bigger than that, 6 foot 217, 4.51 40-yard dash. Not great. Not horrible, though. I mean, it's funny, like, this running back class was really, really fast. They absolutely were. I think Dalvin Cook ran like a 4.49, something like that. If we go back, like, these guys are running fast. They really are. I'm just going back to confirm that. I like 4.5 used to be really, really good at the running back spot. Now it's like, it's all right. Yeah, Dalvin Cook ran a 4.49. So my point is 4.51 is still a good time, especially at 217 pounds, 35-inch vert, 10.4 broad. You watch Damian Martinez play, and he plays the right way, and he only just turned 21 years old. Low tread on the tires. Really good vision and patience in the backfield to find the right spot and time it right. And then when he gets to the second level, he's really good at either lowering those pads and running your butt over, putting you in the dirt, or he has wonderful agility at the second level to make you miss. So that's kind of a dual threat in terms of what he can do to win at the second level, and he gets to the second level often because of, like I said, that vision and patience. And I think he's going to be a big time back in the NFL. And there's just a lot of really good running backs in this class. He could slip between the cracks because not as productive as some of the other guys. And when I say productive, he just didn't get the ball as much. He's always been in like backfield by committee situations, and then also not quite as fast as some of the other guys. Speaking of somebody who's fast, at 196, we go get another wide receiver. And he ran the third fastest 40 at the combine. I think he has the potential to be a really, really good vertical threat receiver, third receiver, somebody who I think pushing guys like Parker Washington, and that's Chimera DK out of the University of Florida. 40-yard dash, 4.34, out 6'1", 196. He's got length with 32-inch arms, 1.5, 110 split, 38.5-inch vert, 10.8 broad, 6.823 cone, 20-yard shuttle of 4.27. Yeah, I'll take that all day late in the draft. And receiver is always a deep position. Always, always, always. I think DK had a really good Senior Bowl. I think he had a really good combine. And I would be willing, and there's production on tape down the field for sure with the speed he has, athleticism and length that he has. I would like that quite a bit. And then at 223, we go get Jacob Bear out of Arkansas State, who the Jaguars did meet with, which they've met with a lot of guys. There's no question about that. I'm not saying that that's the kicker here, but he's still on the board. Interior offensive lineman, guard, center. I think he can do both. And again, we are not letting offensive line sink this ship. It's not happening. We're getting as many good, talented guys in here as we can. I think Jacob Bear in the 7th round is an extreme value. So that's where we're at here with this one. Addressing offensive line throughout free agency and the draft. Addressing wide receiver big time in the 2nd round and a little bit later in the draft. Getting that defensive line put together with Mason Graham, with Jared Ivey, adding to the secondary with Andrew Makuba and Jacob Parrish, getting that running back and Damian Martinez. So this is kind of how I think the Jaguars could play this out. Obviously, free agency will kind of show us a little bit more of what they're planning, I think. But that's this Mock Draft Monday for you. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. Y'all have a good one.